Hey everyone, I'm Alex White, and I'm here talking today about what we've learned in our leadership class. Summarizing a few things, we've learned about emotional intelligence, we've learned about building our strengths, we've learned about the dysfunctions of a team, we've learned about leadership maxims and writing those. We've written a lot of leadership maxims, and now we're narrowing it down to the three most impactful ones for leading ourselves, leading our team, and leading our organization. Trying to lead an entire organization is complex and it can be overwhelming, and you're wanting to deliver your vision clearly, succinctly, and making sure that you're not giving your employees a bunch of BS and that you're showing your true authentic self, and you're keeping that like in check with yourself too. And so just getting started with the leadership maxim for myself, you want to ask, who are you, what are you doing, and where are you going, and what kind of personal ethics are you holding on to in that. And so for me, my personal leadership maxim comes from way back in high school when I was getting up in front of the class for a speech. I had been practicing the night before, and during that practicing, my dad came and he was watching me. He could see how nervous I was, and I was pretty shy and introverted back then, a little even more than I am now. And he just sat me down and he said, "Alex, this is going to be one of those cheesy moments when I tell you like what my dad told me, because I was also a shy person," and just sat me down and said, "Okay, listen, this is as simple as this. People are just people. We're the same. They're people, your people. We're all just people trying to be people on the planet. And they have the same insecurities as you. You have just as much worth as them." And that kind of works for me on a lot of different levels, as far as keeping your ego in check and just feeling valuable at the same time. So that is, people are just people, is my leadership maxim for myself. For my team, my EQ score was sort of lowest in the the social awareness and the relationship management area. So I thought really hard about this one and what I could do to improve myself in that area. And so I was brought back to my first week at my new job, and I made an intentional effort, probably because of this class, to go out and ask questions, put myself a little bit outside of my comfort zone, trying not to say, "Oh, you're the new girl, they'll come to you." Putting myself out there, asking questions, getting names, asking, "Where are you from?" Like blah blah blah, and trying to really remember that. And I had the opportunity to do that with a guy named Milton, and I just casually mentioned, "Oh yeah, that's because you're the middle child of 6 or 7 siblings." And he was like, "How did you remember that?" Because he kind of just said it very offhand, and the reaction was good enough to remember and hold on to. And so my team building maxim is Milton is the middle child. And lastly, my organizational maxim, just thinking about the kind of workplace culture that I would like to see, going over, all of the women in the workplace, including diversity in your workplace, because it's been proven the most diverse teams outperform other groups. I was reflecting back to a previous job that I had where I was literally known as the girl. I was known as the girl in the basement. We all worked in a basement, and I was the only girl. It was me and a bunch of white guys that kind of all looked the same. And they would say, like, "There's a girl in the basement," like every time I would come in, because it was literally a joke with how much of a boys' club it was. And, that just kind of reminded me of there was a lot of artificial harmony and ego in that building. And so when I got this new job, I was floored at the amount of diversity. When I was interviewed by two women, I come in and I'm introduced to everyone that day, like 40 people, and it is all colors, all genders, all sizes. It's great. It's so great. Even in the C-suite, there are equally, black, white, Latino men and women. It's so amazing, and I think it really speaks to the amount of communication and the innovativeness that the company has been flourishing because of its diversity. And it's just a 180, and to kind of remind myself of how I never want to work in a place that isn't that. Again, my last organizational maxim is stay out of the basement. So it's been a great semester. Thank you for listening, and I hope you can take away something from these leadership maxims as well.